Hey fam, I want you to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Roland S. Martin. And don't forget to turn on your notifications.
Look, first of all, Fox News does a very good job every night of delivering us unbelievable content on Roland Martin Unfiltered. Okay, we got a segment called Crazy as White Women, Crazy as White Men. And so we're just going to create a whole new segment, What the Hell They Said Now on Fox. So Laura Ingraham last night was interviewing John Yoo, the lawyer in the George W. Bush administration who wrote the memos that justified torture. Okay, he tried to say that the Civil War cleaned up the racism in the United States Constitution. Y'all just play it.
The people who are criticizing the Electoral College, it's almost as if they forget the entire 19th century and the key moment in American history, the Civil War. If there was an original sin in creating the Electoral College and the Constitution, Abraham Lincoln and the North fought a war where 600,000 Americans died to end slavery and to correct the mistakes. 3 amendments were added to the Constitution after the Civil War and wiped out, I believe, anything that had to do with racism in the Constitution's original birth.
That's beautiful. Never forget that John Yoo was one of the people, along with Bush and Cheney and the rest of them, that were seriously being bandied about around the world for war crimes. One of these tortured kind of, so John, he's never had any legitimacy. And let's be very clear.
Folks, let me help y'all out. First of all, I just...
Hard to know where to begin.
13th, the 14th, and the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment wiped out the racism that was in the United States Constitution. Does he recall what took place with the Dred Scott decision? Now, that took place before the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments, but it still was there. I also find it interesting that he mentioned those 3 specific amendments, because what John did not admit last night, and isn't Laura Ingraham an attorney? She should know. I mean, I'm not, but she should know this, because there was a there was a Supreme Court case in 1883. 5 separate decisions that dealt with this very issue that actually rendered those 3 amendments unconstitutional. The Supreme Court actually decided in those cases, and they were called the civil rights cases, and said that it was unconstitutional because Congress, lacked the authority to regulate private affairs under the 14th Amendment. And not only that, those cases in 1883 invalidated the Civil Rights Act of 1875, which was the last Civil Rights Act that was passed until 1957. And so how could they somehow, and in fact, we could even go to the next decade, Plessy versus Ferguson. Racism was still there in the Constitution. See, here's the game they play. Oh, it erased racism in the Constitution. No. But it did not erase the racist who decides what the Constitution says. And so it was the Supreme Court, Plessy versus Ferguson, in 1883. It was the Supreme Court that did not even fix many of these issues until 1937. When you talk about, again, the covenants, that did not come until after the 1900s as well. Brown versus Board of Education, 1954. Wainwright. I mean, we can go down the line, all of these judicial cases that were decided in the 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s. And so the racism was still there in the Constitution because the very individuals who were enforcing the laws used the Constitution to pass those laws. In fact, that Supreme Court in 1883 actually said Congress did not have the authority to outlaw segregation.
No, that's exactly right.
That same Supreme Court.
No.
So, John Yoo, sit your ass down. Roland Ingraham, shut up. Because what they're trying to do, they are trying to tell the white folks who watch Fox, all these things were fixed because of the Civil War. As if the 92 years after the Great Compromise of 1877 somehow did not happen. It did, because if it was fixed with the 13th, the 14th, and the 15th Amendment, there would have been no need for the 1957 Civil Rights Act, or the 1960 Civil Rights Act, or 1964, or 65, or 68, or any of these decisions. Remember, it was Brown 1 and Brown 2. So, John Yoo, I don't know what law school you went to. Maybe it was Trump University, but seriously, enough with the revisionist history, because guess what? People like Greg and Kelly and Joseph and myself, we are the reason white folks did not want black folks to know how to read. Because we could tell folks like you, who are Asian, who, by the way, would not have been accepted in America at the same time we were. Learn how to read history, not his story.
All right, folks, back to our Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment. Calling all HBCU alumni, students, and leaders, enter the Ford Motor Company HBC-You Mobility Challenge and win $25,000 for your school. Building on their long-term support of HBCUs, Ford is looking to improve mobility in HBCU communities through innovative solutions. The winning program will receive a grant up to $25,000 to implement their proposal. The deadline is near March 31st, 2019. Go to FGB.Life, FGB.Life for more information and to apply. Ford goes further in our community, and we certainly thank them for being a partner here at Roland Martin Unfiltered. Now back to your Roland Martin Unfiltered video.